Mayor and City Council work session for Thursday, May the 11th, 2023. As most people know by now, we have these on the Thursday prior to our Tuesday council meetings so that the mayor and council can go over pending issues within the city and then also have feedback from the community if they're zooming in or happen to be here with us. Before we get started, I will open us in prayer if everybody will bow with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you've given us to come out and do the business of the city. We thank you for each council member, each city employee, and each citizen of this town, and that we pray that you will help us all work together to your glory and to the benefit of all of our citizens. In thy name we pray, amen. Amen. Before we get started, council, is there anything that y'all would like to say before we go into the work session? Okay. One thing I would like to remind people is that we do have several positions that are opening up on boards for the city. I hope that everybody's paying attention to those and that are willing to serve, that will get their applications in. We point those out at each council meeting, but people can always go to our website and see which boards are open and which ones will be coming open in the future. And with that, we will get started. Our first topic up today is one that really hasn't caused a lot of discussion at all. It's been very easy. Our Highway 45, that's me being funny, Highway 45 mowing. Kevin, would you like to come forward? And
I'm a little confused. I'll say it's 45 landscaping and 82 mowing.
But that's okay.
82 mowing.
I
Yes,
can
I can talk about both of them.
82, you're right.
I'll start with the 45 landscaping, which y'all approved last meeting. We've engaged Evergreen, who was your low bidder. They had actually obviously read it in the paper as well and already put it on their books, as they call it, and so their schedule. So we've asked them to go ahead and get in the city system with their W-9 so we can get a PO issued. And I would anticipate their contract was 45 days. So you should see those beds being upgraded in the next, I would say, 60 days for sure, so if not sooner. But we're asking for them to actually give us a schedule for implementation, so that's moving forward. On the 82 mowing,
There are magnolia trees that are already planted there, those smaller ones. Those are things that the city can keep and move them into other areas of the city where there is landscaping needs. One of the things that Kevin and I have talked about is that the council had set money aside, excuse me, to do landscaping at the East Columbus Gym. And so some of those plants that are there already, once that they are removed, instead of letting the company take them and do whatever with them, the city will maintain them and put them in another location.
that's right. And Public Works was originally slated to plant those few that are left there for East Columbus Gym. So
That's a place that we have talked about, but I don't know how many trees and stuff are out there, but it may be something we want to look
5
at.
to 10, mostly the magnolias are the only things left that's worth keeping.
That there's other places to put those things that we'll be moving out. We're not just throwing them away.
All right. On our 82 mowing, the contractor for that, SNS Landscaping, has contacted us this week and basically asked that their bid be rescinded. And there's 2 points to that conversation. First off, they said they have gotten busy, and when they bid this thing 2 months ago, they had no wildly in the earthly dreams, weren't aware of how much they were going to grow. And they've had some obligations. As I mentioned to y'all, they have gained the school district's mowing contract, and they didn't go into detail all what else, but they just said they've gotten busy and have obligated their resources, and at this point in time, would like to be let out of the contract. And then they also said that they've relooked at their numbers and just said that for the escalation for a 3-year contract for the next 2 years, that they probably left some things out, and financially it would hurt them if they were put in the contract. So their exact words to me were, if you really want to help a local company out by giving them the business, in this case, we ask that you let us out of it because you're going to hurt us if you force us into this contract. Because I did remind them that their bid was good for 90 days, and it had only been 60. And so I told them I would pass that along, talk to council about looking into the legalities of letting them out. Obviously, y'all can reject the bids and do as you want versus forcing them into it. And just a reminder that the next lowest bidder, their bid was basically $75,000. The next lowest bidder was $232,000. So it's a big jump to the next bidder. So with that, that is where the 82 mowing contract discussion is today. So, yeah.
Mr. Spann called me
I know him pretty well, and his father used to be in our firm. And he said if the city's position is that you want us to do it, even though I wish you'd let us out, we will do it. So he doesn't want to do it, but he's going to do it if you insist.
That's the update on that. So. With that, the only other thing I will add is we did take bids 30 minutes ago on the 15th Street drainage. We had 4 bidders, and while we have to review the bids, so Zach has taken us back to the office and putting in a bid tab for that. This is doing the drainage improvements that's over by Union, for those members of y'all passed that. Low bidder was Mitchell Contracting, and that was an amount of $124,850. If y'all mentioned, I remember I'd mentioned our estimate was $150, so it's under our estimate, which is good. The other 3 bids were at $135, $170, and $218. So the other 3 bidders, if you're curious, were Otis Williams and Sons. They were at $135. Then the next lowest, third lowest that is T&M Productions at $170,000, and then Weathers Construction was the highest at $218,500. So $218,000, that is $500. So, but we'll be reviewing those bids, make sure all the stuff's in order, and if y'all can't award it, we'll bring it to you at that time. So.
Mayor, can I say something about the mowing?
Yes, please.
I think some have concern that maybe if we start privatizing some of the work out of the Works Department, it's going to cause jobs. We don't have enough. Is that true, Casey? It's hard for us to keep a full crew anyway. Is that fair to say?
Microphone.
Casey, can you come up to the microphone, please?
Sorry.
Please.
It's true that I don't see a hiring councilman, but for us to work, I mean, the city we have maintained it. So, I mean, if we have a few more people to add to the crew, we can make sure we keep it done.
I guess the point I was trying to make is we decided to privatize the mowing of Friendship Cemetery.
Right.
And I think that took a big load off of y'all. Is that fair to say?
Well, we never cut Friendship.
It's always been privatized?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the thing with Friendship Cemetery, we had it about 20 years ago.
Okay.
When we had a crew just for the cemetery, but when they came out of that, it went into privatized.
Well, and sometimes that's good to take a load off of y'all, get somebody else in there to do the work. I guess that's the point I was trying to make, that we shouldn't let this die and not explore options to relieve some workload off of our Works Department if we can save money and get the work done as well.
Mayor, I would like to add that taking the load off Public Works Department, we got applications. I have people come up to me talking about getting jobs. We need to put an effort into hiring people to work with Public Works. That would take some of the load off. Now, when I first came as city councilman, it's low paid. They were making like $10 and something an hour. Now it's $12.50. I don't know. I don't go through the application process, but we have tons of application. I think some effort needs to be put into getting Public Works, the employees they need to do the work. Because like this company here with the mowing, they say, well, we underbid. If we get into a contract like that, it lasts for 3 years. But after 3 years, you're back at $200 and some thousand. And that money could be put in Public Work. I still support not outsourcing, getting 82 grass cut.
Any other comments, council? All right, if not, we'll move into the Probst Park improvements update.
Good morning.
That have been prepared on what can happen with the 2% money that we're talking about. I know that in the past, we've talked about trying to spread it throughout the whole park system, and that's what we've did an effort with today. Of course, when we started doing this, it was still over the amount of money that we're going to come, so we had to go back and whittle away and take some away just to make it fit the amount of money that we're going to be receiving for the next 10 years. We feel confident that these are not just numbers thrown on the paper. We feel that these are responsible numbers, that some things are going to come in higher, some things are going to come in lower, and we don't know. This doesn't really include any contingencies. There's some in there, but it's not total contingencies and what ifs and this, that, and the other, but it's something that we would have to take a look at. But what I have before you is, if you look at the convert the youth softball to youth baseball, that would include turf infields. Now with the turf infields, like I said, that would be artificial turf. Of course, you know that you can't put turf infields where baseball currently is because of the flood. But up there, it doesn't flood up there anymore, so we wanted to put turf infields and have a grassed outfield up there. We went with the Mushko lighting, the concrete spectator between the dugouts. People are not standing in the water anymore. Scoreboards, and upgrade the concession stand, restroom, and press box, and replace the fencing. At T-ball, we're going to replace the fencing, retrofit with LED lighting, concrete the spectator area again, so they'll be out of the water, sod the fields, and upgrade the restrooms at the tennis area, because the restroom that the T-ballers use is the tennis restroom. That's the closest one to them. It's right on the outside of their fields. Convert 3 youth baseballs to youth softball. That would include fencing, lighting, dugouts, scoreboards, the concrete area between the scoreboards, infield dirt conversion, and upgrade the concession stand and restroom. Then we'll go to the playground. We have set aside $200,000 to get us a very nice playground. We're going to renovate and upgrade the splash pad at $210,000. We're going to put down 2 pickleball courts, 1 tennis court, and 2 batting cages. The Field of Dreams, we're going to upgrade that lighting as we have always promised them, and then we're going to do renovation of the office at Prost Park. Pavilions, to include the hut, it's going to be $50,000. You can see right there. The activity buildings has the improvements also listed in there. Then on the outer parks, we would go to Sandfield. Then we get a playground. We're going to replace the floor inside of the building, and then we're going to do new park improvements over there where the new Sandfield Park is. We're going to go ahead and do that parking area like it has been discussed in the past. At Townsend, we're going to replace the flooring. Lee Park, we know that that's a Leathers and Associate playground over there, a wooden playground. We wanted to spend some money in upgrading that and see can we add anything to it, as well as do a restroom upgrade. At Sim Scott, we're going to add a splash pad feature, dugouts and benches, and then we're going to add bleachers. At East Columbus, the lighting is poor. It's real poor in there, and we want to go with some LED lighting in the gym. We want to finish the landscaping on the outside of the gym. We painted the exterior last year. We want to go ahead and paint the interior, and we want to go ahead and replace the gym floor. The gym floor is probably in the most critical condition of all the things that I've listed on. Well, the lights and the gym floor, both of them together, are in critical condition. At North Haven Woods, we've heard people requesting, they want new lighting out there, security type lighting, add a swing set to the playground, and then we want to do some site paving. Hank Aaron, we want to resurface the basketball court, improve the restrooms, and replace the basketball goals. And for operation and maintenance, everywhere that you see a little dot down there, that's something that we took out, but we want to get 2 new moors. You see there's more replacement that we had in place, but we took it out to make the numbers fit. Baseball turf replacement, people always are talking about there's no maintenance, low maintenance on the turf infields. However, you do have to replace them, so we were leaving that there to come and replace them. After that 10 years, they would have some money to start coming and replace those fields so they won't look worn and tattered. We took out the operating maintenance plan. We took out the seasonal workers to help with upkeep and with the annual herbicide, fertilizer, so forth. We added that in there, and then building maintenance. was $100,000. And of course, that building maintenance is not just for buildings, it's to maintain what we have. The only thing new that's in here is going to be the lighting at North Haven Woods. There's another option if you say, well,
When you put 200,000 for turf replacement, I'm assuming it's a whole lot cheaper to replace than it is initially built. So
Yes, sir.
it's like $50,000 a field?
I'm not gonna say $50,000 a field, no, it's probably gonna be more than that, but like I said, that is a start, and then if you get the 2% money again, then you can go replace them the next year, place the others the next year, but 100,000 easily will 100,000 fields would easily start those first two, and then after the cycle goes through, you can come back and do the second two. So they can be done within a year apart. And then, of course, now that's spending the whole 5.4, and then if we had to come back and say, okay, well, spend less, those are the options that you have there on that page. And you'll see as you go, some things are cut out, some things are omitted. And then someone may say, well, it's gonna be that last half page that you have where you basically be just limited to doing the youth baseball and the youth softball at Brooks.
So none of these have the lighting and the safety concerns that we had?
The lighting, all lights, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe it's changed, but all lights and things like that, I think it has to go before the mayor before they can put up any kind of lights like that.
But I mean, was that be an original bid, or you're saying the street lights for safety and the closing off roads and all that, is that not, would that not be in this bid, or?
It would be in this bid, but the closing off of the roads, the bollards, I know what you're talking about, some things are gonna have to come out of my budget. Because like I said, it's just not enough money there to do everything that we want. Now, we do have, I think, a proposal or a quote for Columbus Light and Water to come in, and I know to do the top half of Probst Park, and I think it might have been like at $20,000 or something like that. Of course, like I said, my budget ain't the greatest, but you know, that some things would just have to come out of my regular budget to make it work. And then, of course, like I said, if we come in under, and we don't know, because like I said, some things are gonna come lower, some things are gonna be higher, there may be some money in there to go ahead and say, okay, we got this, let's go ahead and take care of that. But the bottles that you're talking about is roughly gonna be about $27,000.
I have a question on the activity building improvement. Does Jamie have some money in her budget for the activities building, or is that a different building?
It's the same building, but the money that Jamie has in her budget is not gonna touch it. Because like I said, that is the old VFW building, and what I'm saying is she's probably got enough to do the roof and do a couple of cosmetic things, but to make it the way that we say that we want our parks to look, to make it of a quality building, it's gonna take more money.
Can you repeat the question?
She was asking Jamie whether, she was questioning the additional money for the building that's at Probst Park that you're using for, or we're using for reclaiming our youth. She was asking about the additional money that was listed here to get it to, where we would like it to be.
And the question was whether
Yes.
your budget would cover it.
Yeah, and how far is your budget going with it right now?
Okay, right now, looking at the possibility of having to get a new roof, it's not going to be enough. We're looking at right now in the budget there's about 90,000. That will of course get the roof, and it will probably start with some other renovations, but it won't be the whole building.
Well, I'm gonna say this, not to rain on anybody's parade, but I personally would like to see what we could do within Probst Park with the 1.4 that we have. I am still cautioning the council about taking out any type of loans, especially at this time. If we go into something like this, which you're budgeting for, we would probably be looking at raising taxes or mills just to cover the interest on a loan right now. So we're also, I would remind the council that we have put $5,000 in with the county for $5,000 to do an assessment of the park systems within the city and the county. moving ahead before we have information back on that, I would think would not be wise. I am all for improvements of Probst Park. I have been saying that for quite some time and will stick to that. But I'm not as comfortable with taking out a loan as we're looking at with some of these numbers. Also, I feel like that, again, there's grant money out for some of these things that we could potentially pull in to help with these things if we prioritize. You know, 1.4 million is quite a bit of money to being able to make some major improvements out there that's dedicated to that. And then the money that we have coming in will not cover interest and everything on a major loan. So Jim is still in the process of trying to gather information on what all that would look like. But I also would like to see something that where we're working within our means, because we still have a lot of debt to pay down in the city. And we also have major areas where major money is needed, as in the roofs at the municipality complex. So I just would caution the council not to get too far out ahead on some of these things before we have solid numbers, as far as what that type of loan would cost and what the interest rate and all that would be.
I understand the concerns, and they're duly noted, but on the grant that we're working with the county, now that grant is gonna come in and tell us what we need. But what we're asking right here is actually maintaining what we have. It's existing stuff that we have, but I do understand what you're saying about the,
Well, this is updating things though, too.
but you're updating the same, you still got the same 4 fields. We have 4 fields, we're updating 4 fields. That's what we're maintaining them. We had 3 softball fields, we're updating 3 softball fields. Everything, like I said, the only thing that's new that's added is gonna be the lights at North Haven Woods. But of course, like I said, when the people come in with the grant, from my understanding, they're supposed to let us know this is what you need based off of what you have, and we're just simply maintaining what we have, trying to better maintain what we have.
Well, I think probably what their report will also help us do is look at duplication and how we can work together and you know, build a budget for our parks. Give us a long-range, you know, plan as to how we can maintain and upgrade these things. I'm just saying that it doesn't seem wise to me to move too quickly on this until we have all those ducks in a row. And again, that's not to say that we're not going to. I am all for Probst Park. I want this 1.4 million and the money that we have secured from the state for the 10 years. When we took that money, I know there's been talk about maybe using a long part of it to go towards the amphitheater. I don't think that's a wise move. 2 million will not complete the amphitheater. It will not be able to have somebody that can come in and manage it. We got to rethink that. I want this money personally, and will encourage y'all to do it for Probst Park. I just think in our financial situation of the city, we need to be as cautious as possible as we move to it.
I'm glad you brought up the amphitheater. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I've actually been in conversations with CVB, and the CVB is very interested in completing the amphitheater. So I guess the talks in the soon, we need to sit down and start talking with them to see what that would look like. But talk to Ms. Carpenter as well as Ms. Bird, and they're both 100% behind completing the amphitheater through CVB. So.
Well, they have been, but I would caution you to think that they have very much money they can put into it.
And they got more than we do.
Yeah.
Way more than we do.
Well, they were helping in Jackson too. She's been very much behind it. Yeah.
Mr. Lewis, I hear what the mayor is saying, and he's been very adamant about it, but seems like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth to me. I'm just gonna be real. You're saying you want it, but yet you're not doing nothing to do it. What I'm asking you, he said that the taxes, we ain't gonna have enough money coming in, okay? That 400,000 we getting every year is not gonna take care of this that you want, what you want?
That's what we base it off of, but I think that what he's saying, that the finance charges may not be inclusive in this package, which means that we would simply have to go back and will it down. But now this, I base this figure off of the $5.4 million that we would actually be receiving.
So the 1.4, all of that is in the 5.4.
That's what makes, so you're getting 4
Why did
million,
we get way up to the 5 point?
you got 1.4 that you have in hand.
Yeah. So what
And
we
you got 4 million that's coming. So that's 5.4.
Mr. Jim, what are we paying interest on a $4 million loan?
About, the first year would be a little over $231,000.
Interest. And let me be clear, I only talk out of one side of my mouth. And where I am talking is, Mr. Mickens, is to make sure that the city is being the best stewards as possible of our dollars, which has not always been the case. And I think you've been on the council longer than everybody else. So I would think that you would want to be talking with me in making sure that we're handling this properly, which we clearly have not in the past.
All I know, I want this project done.
At any
I want
cost to the
Post Park.
city?
I want Post Park. We've been putting this down and putting it down. Mr. Lewis came up, and I like the plan that shows me that you had put a lot of thought into this, putting all these numbers together. I just want to.
Then you're comfortable with paying over $200,000 in interest to get this?
What I'm saying is, I'm for it. I am for Pros Park.
I am for Pros Park too, but I'm
I don't want
also,
to see Pros Park. We're not going to get it no back and forth on this.
well, you
I
open
don't
the
want to
door.
see Pros Park like the amphitheater. I don't want to see doing a little bit now, coming back next year, doing another little back. Then we got 2 properties that we hadn't finished. That's an embarrassment for the amphitheater right now. That's just an embarrassment to the mayor and council, to the citizens, that we hadn't finished the amphitheater.
Well, I would argue that there was never a proper plan in place, and that's why it's there. And that's what we need to make sure we're doing for Probst Park, is we have a proper plan in place and not let emotions get ahead of smart usage of our taxpayers' dollars.
You can sit there and use them little words all you want. Emotion ain't got nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Okay?
So with the $4.4 million budget, I mean, that's really not, you got the non-Musco lighting. Is that really the only major improvement that's coming out besides the gym floor at East Columbus not gonna be wood? Like, why we can we go with this? Would it still get you everything you need in Pros Park?
We would have to go with.
I'm saying, like, I'm looking at it, I don't see major differences, just cheaper prices between the two in certain things. Like, you would take out that activities building, I see that additional 85, which I'm fine with taking that out because we originally put money in that other building for y'all to fix it with what y'all asked for originally, so I'm cool with taking that out.
At the end of the day, I mean, I guess safely saying is that there's $1 million difference in cost between the front page and the
And
second.
that can be that $1 million for interest that everybody bringing up, right?
Oh, that's what was the question I had. If it's gonna be 200 or something the first year, what is it following that?
The following year is $213,239. So the first year, if you're bringing in $400,000, it costs you $500 and almost $40,000. So there's a deficit of $140,000 that would have to be paid by taxpayers.
And how,
Other cuts in the city budget.
and how many years is that long?
10 years.
What was that last part you said, Mr. Jim?
Pardon?
What was that last part you said? The undercut, what now?
He said you have to cut the budget somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$140,000 has to come from somewhere else, and we either have to raise taxes or cut.
So
Okay, now you saying 100, now I love numbers. So you said 140,000 will have to come from somewhere, of which we already know that we have 200,000 in a fund that we didn't really know about, a capital improvement fund.
No, that was just, when he was doing the budget, he set aside $200,000 for any emergencies. That's,
Right.
everybody does that kind of thing.
I get it. I'm just saying we didn't know about it. Now you say you have to come with 140K cut from somewhere, but then we're also saying sales tax increasing. We're also saying all this other stuff has increased. So, I mean, what would be the projection? It's already a projection before we even start, based off your previous projections? I'm just trying to see what you're coming at.
I'm just talking about the financing on this. I'm not talking about the overall.
We got $400,000 coming in a year for this, and the loan would be over $500,000, the payment. So you
Now, I
got-
get
you
that.
gotta
I'm
figure
saying
out where the rest of it's coming.
we won't have anywhere else that the money, like out of the general fund. I mean, everything has increased tremendously
But we don't know how long
based
that'll
off
last.
of your numbers, not ours. So that's what I'm trying to see.
I will
how
tell
we
you
have to
that-
get so many cuts.
I mean, you have other departments that are going to need additional funding. Police department is one that's going to need additional funding over this year. Fire department will need additional funding. We have a $800,000 fire truck coming in August. I'm just saying that if you're talking about this particular financing, you're getting a revenue stream of $400,000 a year for 10 years. The first year of that loan would cost you $533,000.
And those are numbers off of 4 million.
The whole year.
For the year, yeah. So it cost the $533,000 for that $400,000 loan. So you'd have a deficit in the first year of about $140,000.
And that's coming off the 4 million.
That's coming off the $5.4 million.
So what we was to do
The $4 million loan.
What we was to do the 3 million and go with the second plan.
Yeah, I'd have to run those numbers. I don't have it for $3 million.
But just figuratively speaking, it'll be way lower.
It would be lower. That's sure. It might actually be somewhere in the neighborhood of about a $50,000 to $60,000 deficit rather than $140,000.
What is the interest rate on that?
6%.
6%?
6%. Well, we got that from Raymond James, and we got that from the Stevens Group, both of them. 6%.
6% interest rate is probably,
Is that
what they
related
think
to our
it would
poor
be.
credit rating, or how?
No, that's just the market right now.
Market?
I mean, Greg, you're looking surprised. What were you thinking, is a lower percentage? And from where?
I was just thinking.
And we'd get a lower one if we did a general obligation bond, but the general obligation bond then would count against the debt for the city, which would put us right up against just about the debt limitation for the city.
And what is their rate? I'm just curious. What is their rate?
About 3.5 for a general obligation bond.
Any other discussion or comments?
Yeah, with Sandfield, Townsend, Lee, Sam, East, all these other gyms. I mean, we're doing this money borrowing off a 10-year plan. So when do you see these improvements start to happen? Will these be improvements that happen immediately, or will they happen down the line, or?
Some of them will probably be down the line, but like I said, that if we can only work off the money that we're going to receive.
And you are getting the 4 fields that you originally, this is convert youth softball to one, so it's the youth baseball, then you got
We won't
3 at the bottom, so you got the 4.
have 4.
This could be done cheaper without turf infield.
Could be.
What would be the difference between turf and,
Less maintenance.
I'm saying the price wise?
I don't, what would be the price on a dirt infield?
I'd say 200,000, you could do 2,000,
$800,000.
600, yeah,
But if you don't go with the turf, then we put our kids at a disadvantage. Understand what we're doing
No,
here?
we're not.
Yes, we are.
We've been,
Let me
people been
explain.
playing baseball on a dirt field
No,
for
let me explain.
150 years.
Can I explain to you what I'm saying? Can I speak, please?
Yes,
What I'm saying is, our kids go to these other parks that got the turf. If you ever played baseball, when that baseball hit that turf field, it takes off. When they practice on that dirt, it slows it down. So when they go to these tournaments, we are putting them at a disadvantage. Another disadvantage we have when you brought up Townsend Park. The goals over there is 12 feet tall. That's one area we need to correct. They should be, average goal should be 10 feet. So that's putting our kids at a disadvantage. That's all I'm saying. If you ever play baseball now, when that baseball hit that turf field, when they go up to Tupelo, wherever they go, when they get that shortstop, that second base, when they get ready to take that ball, take it off faster. But when you practice on that dirt field, it slows it down. So that makes their reaction slower. That's all I'm saying, Rich. And that's a proven fact.
The ball does travel faster on the turf than field.
I don't think it's worth $1 million so that 50 kids can practice how to field a ball off a turf. No, I don't. I'm not even gonna argue the fact that the ball comes off a turf. I'm saying turf ain't even natural. The fact that everybody's gone to it, great. Do we have to go and put turf in fields so that we can practice? So we can practice. This is what this is about. Practice, Joe. This ain't about our kids playing on a nice field. What happened to taking care of our kids? We're doing all this catering so all these travel teams can get ready to go and travel, or all these teams can come in to pro. What about our kids? What about the ones that don't? How about just catering to the kids that live and play in Columbus, Mississippi? We got a nice park for you. Come play some baseball. And all this, we're spending millions of dollars so that we can have a select little group to come practice so they'll be ready to go outside of our park to play. That makes no sense to me. You put 2 nice grass fields and forget about this tournament stuff, man. We want our people to have a park that they go have a nice pavilion. They got some nice little baseball fields. They got some picnic areas. It's lighted. It's safe. How about our people? That's all I'm worried about. And all this is catering toward travel baseball. That's where we're getting into all this millions of dollars for travel baseball.
All right, council, anything else?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'd just like to say that I think that Mr. Green is right about our children, but our children deserve the best. And as a quality of life feature, I think that we should turf those fields. I think that, listen to what I'm saying is, I don't have a travel baseball team that's going to Cleveland next month. I don't have a travel baseball team that's going to Horn Lake. I don't have a travel team that's going to West Point. Those are park and rec teams, and they're going to be playing on turf. And we deserve, our citizens, our children deserve the very best.
Thanks, Greg. Anything else, guys? We'll continue discussion. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate your
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right. Is there anything else I wanted to make before we go into executive session? I wanted to make everybody aware that Miss Rosie Lee Harris, do y'all remember Miss Harris that turned 100? She recently received the Marcia Meeks Kelly Award for Lifetime Achievement in Volunteer Service from Volunteer Mississippi. She won that over every other person that applied or was nominated in the state of Mississippi. Councilman Jones and I nominated her for this back right around the time she was recognized for her 100th birthday. This was presented in Jackson in April, late April. She was not able to go to the event. Councilman Jones and I are going to try to go to her house sometime in the near future to present this to her. We gave her an option of having a reception at City Hall, and she really favored coming to her house. But we wanted to congratulate Miss Harris again. This award is for a lifetime achievement of volunteer service. And so at 100, as y'all remember, she's done quite a lot of volunteering and seen a lot of change. So this was some very exciting news. And there was, I think, another person in Columbus that was an alternate for an award as well. And I'm going to get that information and make sure we recognize them as well. But we were just so thrilled for Miss Rosie on this award. At this time, do I have a motion to go to, what is it again that we do? Close determination. I couldn't remember. Close determination to